Hey there, and welcome. When I first started prepping for this, I saw the topic forgiveness, and I thought, okay, we've heard this before, right? But I promise you, as I got deeper into the source material, I hit on an idea so wild, so radical, it literally gave me goosebumps. It flips our whole understanding of the past on its head, and I can't wait for us to unpack it together.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been completely stuck on something? That anger you feel towards someone or a past event that just loops in your head over and over again and you just can't shake it? I think we've all been there. But what if the past you think is set in stone could actually be rewritten? Not the facts, but the meaning of it all, just by changing how you feel right now, in this moment. The material we're looking at today kicks off with this really powerful metaphor. It says that holding on to resentment, that feeling of unforgiveness, isn't some weapon you're aiming at the other person. No, it's actually a prison you built for yourself, and you're the one inside. And the craziest part, you've been holding the key this whole time. And that is the first huge takeaway here. The source argues pretty forcefully that things like hatred and anger, they don't really damage the other person. They're like a poison that eats away at you from the inside. That's why letting go isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. It's framed as an absolutely essential condition for your own happiness. So, how does this damage actually work? Well, the source suggests that hatred acts like a colored filter, like a pair of sunglasses you can't take off. And when you're looking at the whole world through this dark filter, you just can't see or feel any of the richness of everyday life. And we're not just talking about being in a bad mood. It's described in really physical terms. Through that filter, the air you breathe feels tasteless. The sunlight feels cold and harsh. It's like the world is in grayscale. But when you forgive, when you finally take that filter off, suddenly you can feel the world again. The air is delicious. The sun is warm. Life is in full color. Forgiveness, in this view, is what literally brings your senses back to life. Okay, so letting go helps us right now. Got it. But what about the past? That's what really has its hooks in us, isn't it? The things that happened that we can never, ever change. Well, this is where things get really interesting because the source makes this incredible claim that the key to unlocking the past is actually found right here, in the present. And this next point is so important. The source hammers it home again and again. You can't do any of this from a place of misery. It is an absolute prerequisite that you first find a way to be happy and at peace with yourself right now. If you try to force some positive spin on the past while you're still hurting, it's just going to feel fake. It won't work. The foundation for everything that follows has to be your happiness in the present. Once that foundation is solid, you're ready for the next idea. And honestly, this is the part that gave me goosebumps. It goes against one of the most basic rules we think we know about how the world works. We all know this, right? It's bedrock truth. What happened, happened. It's fixed. It's done. It's over. And here's the question that just turns everything upside down. The source says, okay, the facts of the past are set in stone, but what those facts mean in the story of your life, that is completely up for grabs. And there it is. This isn't about time travel. It's about becoming the editor of your own life story. From the vantage point of your happy present, you can go back and completely reinterpret the role that past events played in your narrative. The story itself actually changes. To make this more concrete, the source gives us a brilliant metaphor. Think about it like you're cooking. The events of your past, those are the ingredients. You can't change them. They are what they are. But your mindset today, that's the recipe. And you can take the exact same ingredients and use one recipe to make a dish called My Life is a Total Failure, or you can write a new recipe and create a feast called The Lesson That Made Me Who I Am. You get to write the recipe. So this brings us to what is, let's be honest, the hardest part of this whole idea. Because it's one thing to reframe an event, but it's a whole other level to recast the actual people who caused you pain. And the source doesn't pull any punches with its examples. We're talking about the boss who tore you down, the executive who fired you, the partner you loved who walked out on you. These are the people who feel like permanent villains in our life story. From that essential place of present happiness, and only from that place, we're asked to look back at these figures and ask this totally radical question. What if that person wasn't a villain? What if they were actually a signpost? A difficult, painful guide whose actions were necessary to point you in a totally new direction, the direction that led to the happiness you have now. It goes even deeper. The source suggests you can see their actions as an investment in you.
Now, I know what you're thinking. The person who fired me made an investment in me? That sounds absolutely absurd. But remember the prerequisite. If getting fired led you to start a business you love, and they're now more successful and fulfilled than ever, then from that happy perspective, the firing can be seen as a kind of brutal, tough love catalyst that you needed for your own growth.
And this is the most profound reframe of all. The source puts it like this: they were all actors, playing their parts to put you on the path to happiness. It's this mind-blowing idea that these people took on the difficult, thankless role of being the antagonist in your story so that you could eventually become the hero.
And when you get to this level of reinterpretation, the payoff isn't just peace, it's so much more. It actually creates this powerful, self-reinforcing engine for more and more happiness in your life. Your entire life story, including the ugliest, most painful parts, transforms into this source of incredible self-affirmation. Suddenly, nothing was a waste. Every terrible event, every difficult person, it all becomes an essential and meaningful chapter in the epic story of how you got to where you are today. And this creates a powerful feedback loop. You start by getting happy now. That happiness gives you the power to reframe the past in a positive way. That new, powerful story strengthens your confidence and your sense of self, which, guess what? It makes you even happier in the present. The past and present start feeding each other in this beautiful upward spiral. Finally, the source points out that this whole act of forgiveness really has two kinds of power. The first is psychological. That's the personal peace and inner calm we've been talking about. But it suggests there's a second, more spiritual power. This is the idea that forgiveness is an act of love, and that your inner peace doesn't just stay with you, it actually ripples outward, creating more harmony in the world around you. And that brings us to one last thought to leave you with. We've gone through this whole radical idea that your present can change your past, that you can recast everyone who ever hurt you as an actor who was just playing a vital role.
So, if that's true, then what about you? Right now, in your own life, or for someone else's story, what difficult, necessary, and maybe completely thankless role are you unknowingly playing?